Okay. So API is nothing but like where it is on the server. So we always request and we get the response from the server. Okay, so any application, I mean, leaving legacy applications. So all the applications will have API. So if you take any example like Facebook or Instagram, so there will be APIs which will be running in the background. Okay, so always on the server, users will be requesting something and they will get the information. Okay, and the server will respond as per the request. So whatever data you are uh, trying to fetch, you will request it, and that server will respond in different formats like XML, JSON. All this the data will be you'll be getting like that. Okay, so API is nothing but so we have UI interface for an application and API in the background. So UI is the front end, and in background APIs will be running. Okay, so basically API is nothing but this request and response from the server. Okay, user request and the server response with the uh, data. And sometimes you will, when you're launching a website, you can see like some error 404 not found. So at that time it is like the server is down or in maintenance. Different codes will get it, right? Like 403 error, 404 not found. Okay, so like that we will have different types. Okay, so here that is the basic of API. Okay, and we will have different like for all applications we'll have the APIs. Leaving legacy applications, legacy means old applications only where you will have UI. Okay, so it's better uh, to go for API automation if API is available for an application. Okay, and because API is very quick. So UI means you need to perform clicks and enter the details. UI automation is a little bit slow. So compared to API, API is very fast. You just request and you get it in within fraction of seconds. The data you will be getting, and same like you will be uploading the data from the Excel to any UI application. Similar way we can do it in API also if API is available in the application. Okay. So like this, we will have we can do two types of automation: UI automation and API automation for any application. Okay, so if API is not available, then we need to go with UI automation only. So you will get some questions like this in interviews, like if API is there, and will you go with UI automation or API automation, which is quicker, which is efficient? Like this, you might get some questions. Okay, so definitely you can say that it is API automation is a lot faster compared to UI automation. If API is available, we will go with API API automation only. Okay, so so API is also called as web service. So we will call it as web service also. Or we can call it as web services. Mm. So API full form, let me search. I forgot API full form.
Application Programming
Yeah,
Interface.
application programming
Programming
interface.
Interface.
Mm. Okay, so service. Okay, so it It is service provider over the internet. So it will provide the service over the internet, like you request and you'll get the service. Okay. It enables, so it will enable the communication. Okay. So different applications can talk using applic using API. Okay. So we have REST API, and we have SOAP. So mostly we use REST web service only in real time. Two types of web services. REST API and SOAP. Okay. So so this is basics of API, and here you'll have one action, invoke web service action. Okay, invoke web service we have, invoke SOAP web service we have. So SOAP we don't use. So mostly I have in real time worked on invoke web service only. Okay, in case of if any SOAP API is there, you can just like it, just need to drag and drop endpoint, headers, body, server response, all this you'll have. Okay. So invoke web service, this one is for REST API. So mostly we use this invoke web service only. Okay. So REST. Okay. So if you drag and drop, you can see these are the different fields you'll have, like URL, like API URL we will have, and method. We have different types of different actions we can perform on the data. Like you can retrieve the data, you can add some data. Okay, post means modify. Okay, put means it is adding. Hmm? Post means modify. Like the different we have. Delete means deleting the data over the server. Okay, so like this we have different trace, patch, all this. Mostly we use get or post. Okay, put, delete, but we have others also. So mostly to retrieve the information of the application, you can use get web service. Okay, you need to provide these following details, URL, and accept content. So content, you can accept, you can use JSON. Okay, if the data is in JSON format, you need to use JSON. So content type means here you'll be providing. So in case of modification, you will provide, you can provide the format. Okay, like headers you will be passing in case of modification. So you will provide the content type like JSON format or XML format, like different we will mostly XML, JSON we will have. Okay, and so once you connect to that API, you if you are using get, you'll get the data. So you are retrieving information, right? So those will be saved in this web service response and status code. So as I mentioned, we will have different status codes like 403, 404, 200 for success. 200 means you are successfully connected to the API. Okay, and 400 means bad request. 401 means unauthorized. 404 not found, which we come across in real time cases. Okay. So for example, now let's take one example API. Okay. So this is one free API. So here you can see in this, we have the following resources. Okay. So here you can see we have posts, comments, albums, photos, These are the different resources. Suppose if I go to users, so this is the API URL. You can see this is the API URL. Okay, and here you can see there are 10 users, and each user will have some data. You can see the user one, name of the user, username, email, address. Okay, so if you want to get this information, you can use get method. Okay, here you have seen, right, like get method, post, put, like this we are having. And if you want to modify the data, so suppose if you want to change the address of this user one, then that also you can do. But further, this is free API, so you in real time you will have the access. Here we don't have access, so I'll show example of how to use get API, get method, to get this user details. Suppose here we are having like 10 users. Suppose I want to get a specific user, like second, the fifth user I want to get. You can provide like this. So you can see fifth user I'm getting. So this is the endpoint URL for the fifth user. Okay. Like this, if you want to get some 10th user, see 10th user you are getting. And suppose 11th user. See, there is no data, there is no 11th user, right? So like this is the endpoint to get all the users. Okay. For example, let me try to get first user. So this is the endpoint URL, and this is the web service response. So when I hit this API, this is the response I will get. Okay. And with this is in which format? This is in JSON format. This is nothing but JSON format. This curly braces, if it is starting, this is JSON format. So, and in this JSON format, will get the output as JSON. So if you want to get specific details from this JSON object, then again you need to convert it to custom object, and then from custom object you can get these specific details. So like this, we'll see one example now. But this is the how you can use. This is the URL example of URL. Like this, many APIs will be available in free APIs. You can use them and connect and practice. Okay, for example, here I'm using this one. Type a code. This is one free API. So just for practicing, you can use. Okay,
Sorry
and
for the interruption, Sandeep.
yeah,
Can you please add this API name in that .txt file if there
yes,
is
yes,
not two
yes,
API names so we can practice on it?
yes.
Sandeep, one question.
Hmm.
All these APIs requirements, whatever we need to have to develop the code, would be given by the company, or we have to get it from somewhere else by talking to IT
Company
team?
company will provide all these details. They'll provide the URL, and if there is any headers, body, all these details they'll provide, and the format also. If it is JSON format, all these details will be provided. And what
There
you
is a
need to
proper documentation, Anil, for APIs.
document. So this is whatever I'm showing. This is a documentation. So if I go back, this is the documentation. You need to go to see. This is the documentation only. So here it will clearly explain what are the details,
We need, okay.
what are the resources. That's what here the different resources we have. Okay. So like this, you can go through the API documentation. They'll provide all the details clearly. You just need to use this activity and do the necessary thing. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
So yeah. So now I'll show an example on how to get the one user details. Okay. So here, this is all users. I don't want all users. I want to get suppose first user. And my requirement is to get the username. I mean, the name of the user, username, email, and the city in which this user stays. This is my requirement. And there is UI automation. Leave about that. UI automation also might be there, but you have UI automation and API. So API details also is available. So API automation is fastest one. So suppose if you have one application and the same details are present, what you will do, you launch that application using UI automation and you will scrape the data, and there might be some errors issues also. But here you just need to hit the API and you will get the data within fraction of seconds very quickly. But if you're performing click just like human, it will take less than human, but it will take some time. So efficient way is to go with the API if API is available. Okay, so
But
this is the hmm.
we need credentials, right, for this also, even though
Yes,
we.
yes, this
Okay.
is free API, but there will
Generally
be
in companies, I'm asking.
in companies we will have credentials. So they'll
Okay.
provide the credentials also. So where you will enter the credentials is in advanced, there will be authentication, HTTP authentication. If you toggle this, you will get username and password. You need to enter this username and password to connect to the API. Because see, most of the APIs, if it is free, everyone can access, and data hacking, all this will be there. So for that purpose, they will have authentication, username and password. They will give the access to that user and they'll provide the credentials to you. You can connect to this and do the necessary, like retrieving the information or updating the data in the server or adding some new resources to the server. All this data or deleting some data in the server, all this requires credentials in real time. For all of them, definitely it will be credentials only. Hmm.
Okay, got it.
So like this username and
Sandeep,
Hmm.
do you have any idea about there are two types of credentials: O authorization, I think, and bearer token, if I'm not wrong. Like,
Yes,
what
yes.
is the difference between them? Like, if you have any idea.
I mean, those are different types of authentications only. So just need
Okay.
so each API they use different authentications. So whichever they are providing, you just need to. I think here we don't have OAuth. All of them are for all the different types. You need to use this only. You can see here we don't have anything as such.
Yeah, yeah.
Just OAuth or anything, you just need to go with here only.
Need to put it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in
Okay.
BP, we have that separate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
BP we have, yeah.
In UiPath also we used to have authorization like that. Different. You need to select that and you need to provide the username and password. But here we are having only one option. So if it can be OAuth or normal HTTP, then you can just provide the username and password and connect. That's it. Okay, so for now it is free API. You can just untoggle this. Okay. And others are very like connection timeout, clear cookies, fail on error status. These are just, you can leave it as it is. You don't need to change anything. Okay. And here the output, as I mentioned, the status code. So 200 is the success. So first, whenever you connect to the API, the next activity you need to use is if condition and check status code is equal to 200. If that is true, then only you can get the data. If that is, if it is not matching that condition, then there is some failure in connecting to the API. Okay. And this is about advanced and coming to normal. So here, which method we need to use? Get, because we are retrieving the information. Okay. And accept format. So JSON, because we'll be getting the data is in JSON format right here. You can see it is in JSON format. Okay. So this one is JSON and also content type. So this content type, when you are uh, providing the data, so suppose you are modifying some data or adding some data, you will add the headers. Suppose here, if you have access to add another resource, 11th resource, then you will provide the data in JSON format in the body. Okay. You'll provide the JSON format, and when you need to select put to add. Okay. And the resource will be created. Currently, this is free API. We cannot add, but these options we have. So JSON is the one we can use. Okay. And save response. So here only this we are using since get. So you can ignore headers and body. But in real time, if there are some headers included and bodies included, they will provide the data, no need to worry. And also Postman application will be installed on your machine. So just to test APIs. So when I was working in my real time, so Postman application, they will only install it on your machine. You can just use this URL and use the relevant method. And there you can use the headers properties, all will be there in the Postman. No problem. You can get it every detail from client will provide. No need to worry how what is the URL, how can I create? Do I need to create API? Nothing. You don't need to create it all. Just they will provide the details. You need to consume the API. That's it. Okay. And save response. Suppose some JSON, I mean some APIs when you connect, it you can get the data saved into a variable, or you can save it into a file also. Okay, like JSON file, like in a notepad file, you can save the data. For now, I'm using get text into variable. Okay, and that's it. Advanced we don't require as of now because we are not using authentication. Click on save. Okay, so 3 variables are created. Web service, some headers, it will metadata. This is not required. Some metadata in the API that will be coming as output. It's not required for us. And web service response, this is the main thing. So here you can see some data, right? This data will be coming into this variable, and status code is nothing but 200 if it is success, and other codes like bad request or unauthorized, like this not found, all this you will have 20 and 200s in success codes also will have okay, created, accepted, like this. So created means when you're using put, you need to use 201. Put means created, means some resource is created in the server, like this. Okay, so no problem, you'll have all the data. Okay, so now if I run this, so let me, so what is the next action we need to see? If condition, and just use this status code is equal to 200 in this case because we are using get. Okay, and here if it is 200, then I'll use display message just, and I'll connect it to API. Okay, so run from here. So okay, you can see connected to API, status code is 200, means we are successfully connected, and web service response, you can see I got all the details of the first user. Okay, so I got all the details of the first user now. Similarly, if I want to get the data like name, all this, you need to convert JSON. So the output is now in JSON format. You need to convert this JSON into, so you can see, right? It is in which format? JSON. So this curly braces, this all is nothing but this is in JSON format. Okay. So we need to convert, we have one action, JSON. See, convert JSON to custom JSON string. Okay. Here you can see this is a string text value, and that in the text, the data is in JSON. Okay. So JSON string. So convert JSON to custom object and provide the input. What is the JSON here? Web service response. And the output is JSON as custom object. Okay. Now, once you convert this, so why I'm converting here is because I want to get the specific details of this user, like name, username. So this is in JSON format. We cannot retrieve directly. You need to convert JSON to JSON string to custom object and get the one by one detail. Suppose here, now I want to get name. Okay, so how we can get is there will be one syntax. So use set variable. So I'm storing it into a variable name, and the syntax is JSON as custom object. This is the variable, right? The output of that activity action. So inside this square brackets, single quotes provide this attribute name. Okay. So name, if you provide, you'll get the name only. See now if I run, this variable name contains the name of the user. You can see Lean Graham is the name of the user. Okay. Similarly, if you want to get other details, you can just provide these attributes. But here, if you observe in address, there are multiple subfields again. Okay. Suppose if I just provide address, I'll get all these details: street, suit, city, geo, all this lat long, everything I'll get. I don't want all that. In address, I want city only. Then what you need to do is the syntax would be so just create another variable city. So it is within address and open another square bracket, single quotes city. So you'll get the city in the saved in the variable. Okay. So now if I run, because it is inside the address field, right? So we need to provide here like this to get the city. So city, yeah, we got Gwenboro. Okay, you can see. Now, can anyone tell me how I can get lat attribute?
Inside
First
address,
address,
then geo,
then
and then lat.
lat.
3
Yes.
layers you have to.
Yes, yes. Okay. So to get the specific details, we need to convert JSON to custom object, JSON string to custom object. Okay. So how to get specific attributes from a JSON string. JSON string or from a web service response. Okay, just put JSON string. Okay, so you need to convert JSON string to custom object. Okay, convert JSON string to custom object to get the details. Okay, this is the syntaxes. Okay, like this you can get all the details. Okay, I'm just explained you different types of attributes. Okay, so this is how you will retrieve, you will connect to the API. Any API, same formula. Okay, so which method here you are going to use? Get for inform, get the data, put, post, delete, like this. We have several methods. Okay, and accept is nothing but the which format, JSON format or any other format. We'll have JSON XML. Okay, and content type. So if you are providing any content here, so which content, which it is in which format, JSON or anything. And you can also save to a file and you can name the file. Very simple, just provide the folder and file name. That's it. It will go and save the data in that. And from that again, you need to use read text file, all these things. Okay. So if you're, you can use, save it in a variable and get the data and use the data wherever required. Okay. So this is one way of connecting to a API and getting the details. So you can practice this, and also I'll provide a couple of others also, free APIs, so you can practice it. Okay, so only this activity we have, nothing complex here. Just to use this invoke web service activity.
Sandeep, I
All the
have two
details.
questions.
Hmm, hmm,
See, now it is in JSON format, right? What if
hmm.
it is in other format?
Yeah, then you need to change it to, if it other format means we'll have only two formats, JSON, XML. That's it. So
Okay.
it is in
We
XML. So we have that activity XML. See, read XML from file. XML activities we'll have.
No, we'll get the data into one variable, right? When we
Yes,
invoke after
XML
converting
format.
HTML to custom object normally to that.
Yes, so we have activity to convert also. 1 second.
Yeah.
XML. Okay, XML, we can directly get it, right? XML means we'll have attributes like this. Same like this, we'll have it. Wait, I will show one API.
So
XML. Hmm.
meanwhile, I'll ask one more question.
Yeah.
So while we're doing development and we are doing UAT, we'll get source code as status code as 200. Our code is successful and we deploy into production. So
Hmm.
what are the chances where we get errors here in API? Because this is not a UI automation, where we get
Hmm.
XPath errors, all those. So what are
Yes.
the chances here to get errors?
What are the chances means if the server is down, the output is 400 or 402. So you will handle all those negative scenarios, right? If it is 400, what you need to do? So if it is server is
So
down, then
if
definitely
the
you'll send out a mail to the business. Server is down,
yeah,
or you will retry it again later. All this like
so
this.
if the
Hmm.
application is updated, I mean, will there be change in that codes and data, how it represent? Because
If
in UI automation, it will change, right? If
yes,
application
yes,
updated.
yes, it will change, but the fields will be same, right? If the UI will be changing, but the background fields will be same, right?
Yeah, if that change, instead of
Mm.
name, if they add like
Then
user
you
full
need to
name,
change. You need to change then.
or that we have to see, check, and
Yes,
again, dev we have to change, then
yes,
deploy into production. Okay, that's
yes, yes. Okay, I have got another example of only JSON only. You can practice this for JSON. For XML, let me get back to you guys. Okay, I have to check. So this is also for, you can use this for your practice also. So this is, you can see. So this is how the document looks. See, this is swappy.dev. This is one free API. See here you will have documentation. And here if you just go through the documentation, you can see this is one URL. Okay. And you can see the format. So you can see we have this field, right? Content type. Okay. Say application.json. So, so you can see here content type, application JSON, HTTP 200. Okay.
Sandeep,
Huh.
if I have a data, I don't even know which format it is in. So is there
Hmm.
any way to identify that?
See, JSON is clearly curly braces like this, and
Okay.
XML will be like
So
less
any
than, greater
application will
than.
have only two formats, XML and
Yes, yes.
JSON.
Only two formats you will have.
Okay, done. That's
That XML I'll show you. Okay. So here again we have all the JSON on JSON format only. You can use this also, and to practice, you can get climate, diameter, all these details are different attributes you are having. Okay, you can use this for your practice.
I think basically SOAP APIs, they have XML response, right?
No, no. In here also we will have it. In REST also we can use XML also will be there in the output.
Okay.
Actually, I've seen. I'm not able to recollect the URL. Tomorrow I will give it to you guys. You can practice that. It's very simple. Just the format will be different, and in the similar way you can get the different attributes. Okay. So yeah. So here this is about Invo Web Service. So nothing complicated, but just you need to, you'll get all these details: URL, the method which you want to use, the formats, that's it, the output. And if it is having credentials, you need to just provide the credentials. So within a few minutes only, you can configure those once you have the data, and you can just need to build around it. So what details you want, you can just get it like this. And if you're posting or doing put to add or delete or any resource, then you need to just fill in this headers and request. Same if in JSON format only you need to provide. So JSON is nothing but here you can see, right? So in similar format, if you want to add a resource, what you will do, you will copy this and you will add it here in the body. That's it. JSON format. This is nothing but JSON format, right? Okay. Just you need to suppose if I'm adding 11th resource, you'll change the name, just add it and it will be added. But here we don't have the access, so I'm not able to show you. And all these headers also, you don't need to generate by yourself. They will only give the header details also. Okay. So before trying it here, you'll be having Postman installed on your machine, because I have worked on 2, 3 different clients where they were using APIs. So they installed Postman also. So Postman is nothing but to test the APIs to see the output in very detail. You'll have that.
Can you
Okay.
show if you don't mind? Is it
Uh,
available here?
no, it's not. But you can download it. It's a free only.
Okay, post.
Postman. It's almost all developers will know. Mm.
Okay.
Okay. So you can practice and you can retrieve the data for different users. You can go through this swappy and this TP code also. You can go through other resources and see how it's working. You can practice.
So
Okay.
Sandeep, can you
Yeah.
please show us in Postman how we get the detail, how descriptive it is, and how understandable it is? So you already told that some client gave you one API and you did some changes or check. So
No,
can you please show?
nothing. See, even that is not mandatory at all, because you here only you are having all the configurations, right? See, I'm just telling that if you want to see test it once before going to the Power Automate, then you can use Postman. See, you'll have all the details there. Which method you need to select, URL you need to select, and if any headers it is having. See, you can try it by yourself. Simple. Just download the Postman and just use whatever it is available on the screen. You just dump it in the Postman and practice. If you are not able to, then I'll show it tomorrow. Very simple. It's nothing.
Installed. Postman is installed on my system.
Yeah, you can try it once. It's already installed, right?
Sandeep,
So you just
in XML, do we use the that object dot element dot some descent and that options, because when we are extracting from the XML, we need to find the element, and under that element, what are the sub
yes.
element? Yeah.
So
So do we
yes.
have, yeah?
Yeah. So if you go to XML here, we have XML different activities. See, get
Okay, okay.
XML element
Element
attribute.
attributes. Okay.
Okay, so
Um,
you can get they can just use the action. No need to do
hmm,
anything. Very simple.
okay, okay. Under
Hmm?
the attribute, if we have
Ah,
to find descendant, in that
see,
case,
see, attribute name you will provide, XPath
hmm,
query you will provide.
okay.
All this is there here itself, and
What
the
about,
document where it is stored,
okay, yeah,
XML.
X document dot.
Ah,
Mhm.
everything is there.
What about
Hmm.
namespace? If there is a namespace, sometimes there are multiple namespace are there in an attribute or in a subpart. So
Yeah.
in that,
So I mean, you're saying inside one attribute, another attribute like that. You're saying.
another attribute, but that attribute should will be having some namespace, some URL. So using that namespace only, we can access the
Hmm.
next part of the XML, that descendant part of the XML.
So here, same this action only you can use.
Okay. Okay.
Same. So this concept is same, right? Attribute or the
Mm-hmm.
namespace, anything is same. You can just
Okay.
use this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tomorrow I'll give an example of XML so that you'll
Mm-hmm.
understand. Hmm?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this is about REST API. I'll give one example of XML tomorrow. And see, another uh, component we have is database. Very simple. So we have three actions in it: open SQL connection, execute SQL statement, close SQL connection. So these three actions only we'll have. So you will write the first, you need to enable the connection to the database. So if you double click on this, just need to generate a connection string. So you don't need to do anything. Just click on these settings. You just need to select which database you are using. Okay, like SQL. So we have different, right? SQL we have, and we have ODBC connection. Suppose if you are using Snowflake. Okay, I have used Snowflake in one of my organization. So there you need to install the ODBC driver. Okay, so there you just need to just select the provider. If you are using SQL, just select this SQL provider and provide the server name. So if you have configured on the machine, then you can just provide the server name. So again, all these details will be provided by the client only. You don't need to do anything. So the server, the username, the password, everything will be taken care by the infra person. They only give those details. And again, in the server, we will have different database, right? Okay. So you need to select the database. So once you get the access to that, you can see in the drop down and just click on test connection. Username, password. Again, you will have this. So to connect to a server, you will definitely have authentication. So you just need to provide the username and password and just click on test connection. Okay. So if it is successful, then it will show you a message like successful. Just click on OK and the connection string will be generated. And that will be stored in this variable. Okay. And just this is just to enable the connection to a database. It can be SQL, anything. Here in our case, it is showing this activity is showing a SQL connection, but don't think that you can use only, you can connect to only SQL. Okay. And we have execute SQL statement. So the input of this will be SQL connection. So you can see automatically it has taken the SQL connection, and you can just use the queries. Suppose select query, update query, any queries you can write it here, and the output here query result. Suppose if you are retrieving the data, select means you'll get the data, and that can be stored in a data table. The query result output will be the data table variable will be of data table. You'll get the data, and if you want to retrieve the data from a SQL database in a table, so you'll just write select star from table. All these queries you will be writing it here in the SQL statement. Okay, that's it. And once you're done with that, you'll close the connection, SQL connection. So close SQL connection, the input of this close SQL connection will be SQL connection. That's it. So only three activities we have: open SQL connection, execute SQL query statement is nothing but all the statements you will write it.
Um, Sandeep, can we
Hmm.
use in the connection string if we give the file path? So can we use Excel also as a database?
Yes. So to use Excel as a database, so what you need to do? OLEDB provider is there, right?
OLEDB, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, yes. OLEDB that you need to. For that, again, you need to have access. Microsoft Access will be there, right? Some other
Yeah,
application. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, you can use OLEDB also. Excel as OLEDB. Hmm. If you want to use Excel as database, you need to use OLEDB function. Hmm. And if you want to use normal any other database, you can just select here and establish the connection. Very simple. You just need to provide the server name, username, and password, database which you want to connect. So currently I don't have any database, but it's very simple. You'll get all the details and you just need to test the connection. So whatever you can see on the screen, just those details only you need to provide, and all this you'll have. Uh, I think there is another class all are requesting. Okay, no problem. So just I'm giving this very simple brief for this database because there is nothing much. You just writing statements again. That is a different concept. Writing SQL statement. Just write it, or else nowadays we are using ChatGPT. Just you need to provide, I want to do this, and you'll get the query, and you can just copy paste it in the execute SQL statement, and you can do those. You can get the data or update the data in the database. That's it. We have three actions: open, close, and execute statement. Whatever statement you want to provide, you can provide it in the execute statement. Very simple in database. Three actions only we have. Okay. So if you have if you are having database access in your company machine, then definitely you can once try it to connect to a database, just to connect and see how it's working. Okay. So this is about database. So we have three actions: open, SQL connection, execute SQL statement, and close SQL statement. Even Excel I'm providing as a database. Snowflake, like this, we have different execute statement. Execute SQL statement. So this is the main where we write the query. We can write the query just like how you write it in any database language, just nothing different. And close the connection. So once you're done, it's good to close the SQL connection. Okay. So this is about database. Any questions on database? Yeah, if you have the configuration set up, then you can try it.
Yeah, I have. I will try.
Yeah,
the
you
configured
can try
SQL.
and yeah, you can try and let me know if you are facing any challenges. I'll be able to help you.
Oh,
So through these steps, we can also connect Excel as an OLEDB, right?
Yes, yes. So that here we are having option, right? Open SQL in this, click on setting. You can see OLEDB provider.
Mm. Yep. Yeah, I can see.
Hmm. Just use that and try it once. But you need to have access for that, Microsoft access. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So that's it for today. Tomorrow I'll give you one example of XML and we'll move to the next topic.
Okay, Sandeep.
Okay. Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye, everyone.
And
Good night.
Sandeep, yeah, Sandeep, just one request. Uh, am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Sandeep,